I think it's really special. I think it's about time, the impact that he's made on the game, both for the players and the industry as a whole. We still feel those impacts today, and it's what makes the sport so great. So we all owe Marvin a lot, and we appreciate his hard work, and it's great to be able to celebrate him.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary.
Hi.
Could you walk me through the other game? As a Yankee fan, I want to say that was one of the most exciting games we've seen this season, and the performance you had. Did you feel any pressure coming into it, with your series against the Mets or anything like that?
Yeah, we're feeling a bit under the heat right now as a group, I think, in general, and so we wanted to make sure we just, took the road trip one game at a time, and that game in particular, obviously winning the first game of the series, going to win the series was super important for us, and we were a little depleted out of the bullpen, so it was an important game, and it was good to see some of the adjustments that we've been working on come to fruition. So,
how do you compare it compared to normal 2 days after a more traditional start?
I feel pretty good. So. I feel pretty good, but I think everybody would feel a little more comfortable if we just waited till the weekend to fire the engine back up.
Are you officially off the roster?
I don't know the answer to that.
But yeah, you will be pitching.
Yeah, they would prefer not. Yeah.
What's so important for you to be here?
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun to come and get to celebrate everyone else's accomplishments in the room. The first-time guys are always having a real special time, and it's part of our responsibility to come and answer questions and perform if we're able to, and represent the brand of the game or brand of the industry. So.
Looking at Ohtani, is there any part of you that's thinking back to high school or college you could have maybe done that if you tried?
I tried to hit in college, but coach didn't let me. So I proved him wrong when I hit pretty well in the big leagues, and I always jab him after that. I don't really think I could play at that level. We've had some great ones over the years that have been able to do both, but he just seems to be on a different level. So marvelous to watch.
What changes in a mindset during a player's career where you just either decide on one or the other? Does somebody tell you that it's best to do that? Do you think it's best for you? Like, how do you make that split?
There's kind of a big transition right after I was coming through amateur ball into collegiate ball, where a lot of the perfect game and showcases and those type of things started to gain a lot of steam and get people a lot of notoriety. So players started to become a little more specific oriented earlier, especially pitchers like Jameson's age. A lot of guys Jameson's age started doing pitcher only in high school. My personal opinion, I'm not a fan of that. I like the athleticism. Certainly if you're trying to protect your shoulder joint, you probably shouldn't be playing defensive line, but you should be athletic and you should be moving around and growing your body and coming into your coordination in that aspect. And then at some point, I think the risk reward comes into play. Right. That was probably the decision in college. Coach wanted to, obviously preserve my health, but the demands of the National League game, obviously allow you to hit. So you have to train that up and be prepared for it, and it's obviously doable, but it still is a bit risky, especially for certain body types and certain people. So there's always kind of that back and forth. I think once one skill really pushes far and away past the other is most of the time when it shifts and transitions into just that. Yeah.
How long would it take for you?
Sorry.
How long would it take for you to get off the mound, get yourself ready to hit, and at least get ready to hit your ball? So it's how often do you find yourself thinking of pitching and hitting?
I haven't. Well, the last time I hit was in the World Series. Certainly I've had a few times where I've had to come off the mound and lead off, and that's a pretty that's relatively quick transition. The harder one is, when you're on a base pass and the last out's made, and then you got to go back on the mound. There's a little bit of an advantage in terms of the American League where you have some time to collect your thoughts, or you never miss an opportunity to go over some of your notes before you go back out. But at the same time, playing the game in the National League and being on the base paths gives you just an inherent feel for the momentum of the game and the feel. And so that can sometimes be an advantage too. You just feel a little bit more present as opposed to kind of always just recovering in the tunnel or whatnot.
State of baseball about how kids are gravitate to a specific.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone in this, in America could do what he's doing? Or do you think it's just inevitable that people will be split?
Well, I think we're genetically progressing, obviously, he's, creating the wave, right? He's in the front of the wake. I don't see why not. I mean, I'm a dreamer, so I guess it's anything's possible. We would have to get past that point, that risk reward in terms of hedging your bet or not. But obviously, people looking up to Shohei and seeing how he's been able to do it and blow past expectations proves that it's possible. I'm sure that there's somebody genetically out there able to do it and motivated as such, and so hopefully we get to see that person in the big leagues too at some point doing the same thing.
When you're pitching to him, the guy's the leading slugger in baseball, what's the hardest thing about how to attack it?
With guys that have a lot of power like that, mishits can still hurt you quite a bit, and so that's obvious with him. And then the second dynamic is he can cover all four quadrants of the zone. If you look at his scatter chart in terms of hard hit balls, he's got them littered up and away, up and in, down and away, down and in, from velocity to, maybe more movement accentuated pitches. And, so it just forces you to kind of be adjusting and executing at the same time, which is, one of the toughest things to do.
Do you get a sense that he's seeing things through a bat?
Sorry, let me get this guy.
So looking at the state of the game more broadly, obviously there's critics have to pace of play, too many strikeouts, etc. Are those problems overblown, or do you think those problems actually need to be addressed in terms of the long-term viability for the game with younger audiences?
Yeah, I think we should always be forward thinking about those types of things as an industry. Our goal is to grow the game, continue to bring young kids in that can learn some of the virtues and characteristics of the game that we love here, and it's not always about making it in baseball. Sometimes it's about just learning team atmosphere and taking some of the things you can learn through sport and apply it other places. And so, we should always be trying to figure out how we can get better.
The game, obviously, that Major League Baseball tried to address, obviously the strikeout issue, obviously spin rates, etc., checking the ball. I mean, do you think baseball handled that right way? Do you think it was thrown together too haphazardly, or do you think baseball was kind of in a no-win situation to handle that?
Yeah, I mean, there was no real legislation on the custom and practices that were going on, and MLB felt that they got to a point where they needed to do that, and I'm certainly all on board. I think the long-term trajectory is really good in terms of what's been going on. It's been a bit challenging to do it in the middle of the season. They've been aware of this, and maybe getting out a little bit in front of it, giving us some time to kind of adjust going into the season would have been my preference or our preference, I think. But as players, we're here now and we're adjusting, and I think we're better for it in the long run. So,
and critics aside, what is baseball doing right in your mind? What do you think that they've really done well the last couple of years to grow this game?
Well, I mean, at least we got a season off last year. That was good. People were going to miss baseball for 16 months or 17 months at that point. So that's certainly a positive that we were able to get through the season and put on a World Series. And, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, trying to get things smoothed out. We have a good crop of young players. We're hyping up the draft. We're hyping up prospects. We're doing a good job, or a better job, and trying to do a better job at marketing the game and reaching out to the young fans. And I think it's more about the effort, as opposed to just the on paper results, especially with the blip in the season being last year in 2020. So as long as we again keep being forward thinking and trying to improve, we'll ultimately get to where we want to be.
Thanks so much, Gary. Appreciate it.
Is it concerning at all? There are so many teams already out of the race with such a big divide between the haves and the have-nots.
I haven't really looked at the standings.
Teams that have less than 15% chance to make the playoffs.
Really? I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I think that we'd probably want to see more people in the middle, see a more competitive middle class there. And maybe we can find a way to incentivize, teams to go for it and not hurt them quite as bad as they just fall short.
When you're facing Ohtani, do you get a sense that he thinks through at bats like a pitcher does?
Oh, I mean, well, I learned a lot of some sequences and a lot of how I attack hitters from standing in the box and looking at that perspective. So I would venture to guess he's probably learning aspects of his craft, both on the mound and in the batter's box, and using them, together to his advantage.
How good do you think it is for baseball to have him doing what he's doing?
I think it's great. Yeah, I think it's magical. So, yes. Hey.
You want some girls? It's supposed to be for you.
It's all right. Sure. I like the spotlight, Bruce.
So, are you available to pitch in this game after throwing like a million pitches?
I don't think so. No. Yeah. No.
What do you think the season of Ohtani started? Obviously, if you look at just like the best pitchers, only pitchers in the American League, there's probably some other guys that could have made a claim to that.
Yeah, but he's so exciting. I don't know. He's so exciting. I want to see him start. So. Yeah, I keep up with Fraz every once in a while, for sure. Yeah, I keep tabs on him. He's been swinging, obviously, a good bat. So.
Yeah. See, when you see him in the club, he's been traded. It seems like for 2 years he's been on the block.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah. Will other guys give him a hard time about that around here, or try to sales pitch him? Or?
Oh, I don't know how much control he has over the trade. I think there's always a little bit of gamesmanship or, going on in the clubhouses in this situation. But, mostly with a player, that's under control, that's super hard, almost impossible to control, in my opinion. So, Fraz just has to, keep doing what he's doing and keep his head down and keep hitting, and things are going to work out for him, and hopefully at some point he gets the opportunity to choose where he wants to play.
What's it been like watching Jamie come back?
Dude, it's been sick. Honestly, it's been really cool. And yesterday was so enjoyable to watch. Been watching his stuff continually just, kind of tick up and tick up and tick up as we've been going. And, you get a mixed bag sometimes with guys off Tommy John, especially first. I think, at least from what I've heard from guys, the feel and the mechanics being so removed from that level of intensity. There's just a lot of things to adjust on the fly. He's also playing in New York, which, carries its own weight as well. And then, he struck Altuve out on 97, really good move at two-seam down and in. And I don't know. I'm just super stoked for him. He's just had such challenges that he's had to overcome, and so just to see him consistently start to progress and start to get that velocity back, and maybe even be able to settle into a better version of himself than when he, was throwing 200 innings for the Pirates. Bright things on the future for him.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you got it, Jason.
You still keep in touch with Masahiro?
Yeah, he sent me a Instagram, I think, my Instagram the other day after the game, and he's been pitching pretty well, actually. So, yeah, we keep tabs on him, just on the clubhouse in general. And if he has a good game and we see it on the ticker or whatever, it comes across social media. It usually kind of makes its way through the clubhouse.
Do you still remember the
Japanese word he taught you?
I'm not sure. What did he say? Os?
You remember that?
I don't remember that. I know that os and I think mas is like they use that as like filler in a lot of sentences, and it's like proper. So we always I don't know. I would always kind of talk to him like that, even if I was talking in English, and you'd think it's hysterical. So
Actually, he's got a pitch for the Japanese team in the Olympics.
yeah.
So any kind of message for him? He's on that. Maybe watching the TV.
Hey Moss, how are you? Good luck. Keep it up. Try not to hurt those legs while you're running the bases. Okay, let's keep it simple, and just keep firing strikes and punch some tickets, pal. And hopefully I see you soon at some point.
Garrett, I know you were feeling great earlier in the week. How are you feeling now? And did you have any consideration to potentially skip this All-Star game like some other players did?
I'm feeling better now. I'm not like maybe 100% out of the woods, but I'm close, and so thanks. And no, I mean, even if I'm not going to pitch, I'm still here, and I have some obligations in terms of, you get elected to this by your peers, and so in my opinion, like, it's, if you can show up, if you're not injured or whatever, it's it's something that you probably should do. So. Just the first thing that comes to mind is like he's just an animal. I think he's a brilliant pitcher. His mind's going a million miles an hour, whether he's on the mound or whether he's trying to innovate himself or find a new way to attack hitters, get himself in shape, get himself prepared. It's not really an aspect of his game that he doesn't put a lot of focus into, and so really something to admire, the consistency. But when he gets on a roll and he starts snarling and sweating and doing the super long walk all the way around the infield after he's punching tickets, and come on, that's great TV. So unless you're on the opposite side.
And you now kind of know what it's like, what it takes for you year after year, facing the same guys year after year. What about making adjustments? I'm sure it's harder than it seems to kind of keep that up. What do you think allows you to do that?
Well, I mean, I think just being observant, especially as starting pitchers, we get to watch more games than we actually get to play. So if you can find a way to use that to your advantage in terms of, watching how clubs approach your pitchers, watching how your clubs approach other pitchers, what are the trends in the game, are there any commonalities you're seeing in terms of certain type of hitters or whatnot. And I think just with the experience that he has and then the recall that we have in terms of how many pitches we've thrown, things just kind of naturally come to you, and if you stay creative, and execute that creativity, maybe you can find some things out that you didn't necessarily expect. Yep.
Having one player who has some version of joy and some version of challenges.
Otani? Yeah, he's faster than both of us though too. So you have to add like Billy Hamilton in there or some sort of extra spice. I think it's really amazing. I'm really glad that he's been able to stay healthy. I hope he continues on this path the rest of his career. He's such a pleasure to watch. He's really humble. And he's obviously something that I've never seen before. I mean, at any given time, he most likely has the most power, the most velocity, the most speed on the field. And to have all those attributes in one player, and then the personality to go along with it is so good for the game. It's inspiring to watch. So.
When you say so good for the game, what do you think it means to have a player?
I mean, like, there's always the dream, right? Of we don't start off as pitchers only or position players only, right? We all want to do both and play multiple positions. You're a left-handed kid in Little League, and so what? You're going to play shortstop, and like there's this simplicity to him just being able to fulfill that dream that even as a pitcher now or as a hitter, like a certain inner child in us would love to do all of it, and he's doing it. And he's doing it on a high level, on an elite level. And so I hope he inspires. I hope he inspires a generation of players to continue to dream big and continue to shoot for the stars in that aspect. And maybe as he's creating a wake right now through the league, he really inspires 4, 5, 6 more of them.
And not just Ohtani, but seeing some of the home run leaders so far this year, Acuna, Tatis. I mean, how great is that for growing the game?
Dude, I mean, those players are fantastic. I mean, Tatis is super blessed to be, coming through a baseball family, especially, and he's handled the big money, the spotlight, the big moments so well. Just great energy, good smile. Everything, you can't say enough about some of these players. And Acuna, wow, the talent. I mean, it's so unfortunate his injury as of late. But playing against the Braves when he's leading off, it's a difference maker. I mean, it's similar to trying to probably pitch to George Springer the first pitch of the World Series. You're like, he might. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get this ball back if it's a strike. And then every time players like that start the game off, it just. As a player, you're engaged right away because you have no other choice. I'm assuming as a fan, it's the same thing. So, just really stoked that these guys are blossoming, and that they're doing it consistently, and they're able to stick around and continue to get better. And we have a really long time to look forward to watching them play.
Playoff teams the last 3 years, one that went to the series. Do you feel like playing to the playoff team?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I have a lot of confidence in us. Certainly, at this point in the first half of the season, we've learned how to take a punch pretty good. People have landed quite a few of them. So, if we can defend a few of those in the second half, learn to throw work on our jab a little bit, work on our haymaker. Certainly, building up some of that toughness and that resiliency through some of the challenges that we've had will only benefit us. We have plenty of talent in the room, I think. Not that Brian's always working to try to get us better, because that's just our MO, here, and that's what we try to do. And but I mean, I got to believe. I got no other choice, so I do. Yeah.
There's things the team does well, and there's things that the team doesn't well. When you don't watch it, you mentioned before, when you're pitching, you get the 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah.
The stuff that you don't practice, do you think it's at any level too much to overcome what you do?
Well, yeah. If you're not gonna improve in that area, it's gonna be hard to just outperform in another area. So I think at some point, as we want to focus on our strengths and continue to keep those our strengths, but we gotta raise the bar in some areas too. And Aaron's talked about it, Gardy's talked about it, I've talked about it. When we're certainly putting our heads together and trying to push in that direction. So the effort's there, the focus is there, and we got to just keep taking it one game at a time and try not to get discouraged if it doesn't really come right away for us. Use the rest of the games that we have to get that linear path, create that linear path to where we're ultimately playing our best baseball come the end of September. That's always the goal, and we still got a great opportunity and great shot to do that. So.
Hey, Garrett.
Yeah. Hey.
So you've dreamed of being a Yankee
Yes.
since you were my age. So how does it feel to be here representing them?
It feels super great. And thank you for that question, because I'm super excited to ask it. I feel like this is my 4th All-Star game, but I feel like it's also kind of my first. I am very proud to be representing the organization that I love, and culmination of all the hard work that we've had is also, I've also benefited from the work from my teammates here, and so all that here is on display, and I couldn't be more happy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Great question.
Garrett, it's been a very, very exciting season. What's your opinion about what's happening in the Yankees, and of course your 4th participation in the All-Star game has a different taste?
Yeah, I mean, so far, I don't think we've played up to our potential. I think we want to I think we want to focus on some of the things that happened in the first half and try to make them better. I think we have enough time to ultimately execute our goal. So we're looking forward to those opportunities coming ahead. And I'm really excited to be here. Colorado, Denver is a great town, wonderful stadium. And to be able to share the experience with other players and represent the organization and all the hard work that we've put in here to support myself and Aaron and Chappie to be here, it's that's why we're here, and I'm grateful for it and excited.
Since this is for Japan, what's your opinion about player, hitter,
Yeah, I mean, well, my opinion is wonderful. I mean, I got to watch him more up close in the American League West, and which is fun and not fun because he's a real pain to deal with when you're trying to play against him. And then just recently he made his arrival to New York and made a splash in quite a big way as well. So I just think he's wonderful for the game. I think I love his personality and the way he goes about his business, and I'm just amazed at his talent and so happy for him. Yep, thank you.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I have a couple questions for you. So because you are one of the game's best and you're facing some of the game's best, we're doing like the best name segment, just like quick rapid fire.
Okay.
All right, best hitter you've ever faced.
I would have to. I don't want to. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. Yeah. I mean, the best hitter I've ever faced is probably Mike Trout, especially considering the track record and playing within the prime. But that's not to say that Albert Pujols isn't right there with them. That's not to say that Miguel Cabrera isn't right there with them. Just right now, it's a little different than it was maybe 10 years ago. So I got to go with Mike Trout, and close second would be Juan Soto.
Oh, okay. All right. Best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I've ever received is from a friend of mine that passed away, Ken Revisa, and it's always to get to the next pitch.
Okay. Best gift you've ever been given?
Gift? Probably my son.
Best away stadium?
And I'm kind of a sucker for Wrigley. I'm kind of a sucker for San Francisco as well. One of those two.
Best superstition you've ever witnessed?
JV lines up. He drinks a cup of water after every inning that he completes, and then he lines them up in a row in the dugout, by his chair in the tunnel.
Best post-game meal?
Best post-game meal? Nothing better than a nice glass of wine and a good steak.
Very classy. Best temperature to play in?
72. Partly cloudy, light breeze, low humidity.
Best pitcher of all time?
Best pitcher of all time. Probably Roger Clemens. Koufax is up there for me. Pedro's up there for me. Gibson's up there for me. Randy's up there for me too. So it's tough. Yeah. Well, they're in there for a reason.
Those are good answers.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. Cool.
Good to see you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Dad.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you. Last
Good to
time
see you.
I seen you in Houston, you told me to stop calling you Mr. Cole. So I won't call you Mr. Cole.
Perfect.
Will you participate in the game any seeing that you're coming off that heavy inning on Saturday?
I don't think so.
And how good did it feel, though, just to be back in Houston?
Yeah, it was it ended on a bit of a sour note, thanks to Jose, but it was nice to be back. just the staff around the stadium and everybody there was so kind to my family, and so it was good to see them after not seeing them for a couple of years. And they support us, they support the players, and they do such a wonderful job. So credit goes to them, for us to be able to perform in that situation, and we need that support. And it was nice to catch up to them. It was nice to get the reception in the first game, it was just good to be back. So,
how good is it to get back to some type of normalcy after the All-Star game?
Yeah, very much welcomed. I think not just in baseball, but everywhere else. So, yeah, thank you. Hey, how are you? Good.
I'm sure you've been asked about this before, but experimenting with this rule the automatic about throwing the mound back and forth. I'm just curious whether you know any pitchers, the big leagues, who in favor of been trying to.
I haven't really asked around, but nobody's unsolicitedly come up to me and told me that they thought that was a good idea.
What do you think?
I haven't put enough thought into it. There's probably best person to ask that question is probably Brent Strom. Most likely he's thought about it.
You haven't thought about how it would affect movement?
Something would generally tell me that there's probably going to be more movement to a certain extent. But you also have more time and more space to track the movement, so I don't really know how that plays out.
Would you have injury fears?
Certainly, yeah.
I've heard about the James Andrews study, where they studied 30 college pitchers who had 60 feet 6 inches, 61 6 inches, and 63 feet, and didn't draw any biomechanical differences at all.
Yeah, well, the only thing I would say there is that those are college pitchers, and they're all 19 and built like Gumby at that point, and haven't, critiqued or tailored their stride length or their release point or their mechanics at the highest level with the most demand and precision and intensity over the course of, I've been in professional ball for 12 years now. So, it's one thing to experiment, I think, with college pitchers. I think it's another thing to experiment with, people that have made it their professional craft for over a decade. And so that's where I don't necessarily think that. Now, they could be indicative of the same results, but I would be hesitant to accept that as an absolute truth for sure.
And the other thing was that study was all fastballs, no breaking balls.
Okay.
How much of an impact?
That would be a significant impact. To be able to throw a good breaking ball, to be able to get that forward snap on the pitch has a lot to do with mechanics, weight distribution, or balance to the delivery, rather. All those things are going to have to be adjusted. People are so fine-tuned and asymmetrical at this point. That would be probably the human body could do it. We probably just would need maybe a little extra off season, or maybe a year of trial, or I don't even know how you would go about it, Jason, to be honest.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Were you surprised when you found out Sean Hill was going to start the game today?
No. No.
No? Okay. You would have some time with him in the clubhouse and the dugouts at their All-Star games. Are there any questions or conversation you want to have with him?
I just want to tell him that he's freaking awesome and he should just keep going. And I just, wish him all the best. And, I may ask him what it feels like to do both, and, maybe get to know him a little bit better. So, just the normal stuff.
In general, what do you think about what he's done for the Angels and MLB?
I think for MLB is just fantastic. It's amazing. For the Angels, obviously, as well. Contributing on the mound, contributing defensively, base pass, hitting. Just really marvelous to watch. It's been really cool to see.
You have to face him in the All-Star game. The question is, how deep do you think he can go?
I don't know. He's certainly got all the power out there. So and he's able to generate it relatively easy. and we got a little bit of an atmosphere, or got a little bit of an altitude here that may help. May help not have to put quite so much effort into the ball to get it out. So hopefully he can use those things to his advantage and be able to accomplish everything that he wants to. Thank you.
Jared, who's been your MVP of baseball so far this season?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know all the stats, man. Sorry.
No, it's all good. And who do you have in the home run derby tonight? Jared also.
I might. Who's in it again?
You got Ohtani, Soto, Gallo, Salvi, Perez.
I'd have to probably put some money on Soto, to be honest. Yeah.
Got to go up against Ohtani. I know you get.
I don't want to bet against. I don't want to bet against any of them, but yeah, Soto's got some serious juice. So.
And last question for you: what was your favorite home run derby or All-Star moment growing up as a kid?
Oh, dude, the one at Fenway, right? Like that just stuck out in everybody's heads.
Garrett, who's your favorite player in the league to watch right now?
I really like Shohei. I don't. Aaron Judge? Is that a good answer? I think so. Aaron Judge. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. Who else do I? I don't watch a lot of baseball or a lot of highlights unless they're playing against us. But we have some real marvelous players out there for sure. Tatis is electric. Soto's electric. I personally am really digging what Lance Lynn is doing, because we kind of came up about the same time, and he's gone through Tommy John and some rebound here, and to see him kind of back at the peak of his game, and his old schoolness. So but that's probably just personal taste. So.
I don't know if you're lined up to pitch tomorrow night. Is there anyone on the other side you're really looking forward to facing you don't get to see often?
Well, I'm not lined up to pitch, but there's a lot of studs. I don't enjoy facing Brandon very much, so I'm glad to avoid that. And last time I faced Soto, it didn't fare too well for me. Nolan's been able to really. I'm assuming Nolan's here. Yeah. Nolan's been able to put the bat on the ball quite a bit off me. So, but that lineup's probably littered with guys who's got a good handful of hits off me. So,
two quick questions for you. Is it have a catch or play catch?
I don't know. I use them both. Have a catch is probably more old school. Play catch is probably more new school. I'd probably say play catch.
And then batting around, is that 9 guys, or do you have to get back around to the leadoff batter?
Yeah, no, you have to get to the leadoff guy. You got to bat around, get back to the top. Yep, you got it.
Garrett, you pitched here with Pittsburgh a little bit. What are some of your memories of pitching at Coors Field, and kind of the rumors that are out there about preparing for it?
Yeah, I mean there's a physical toll here that's different, to say the least. Just a slightly different game as well. The outfield is huge. I think the biggest threat is the space. The fences are so deep to try to curtail the home run rate that hard ground balls can sometimes get to the wall if you're not positioned correctly. And typically Colorado has a really great offense. So I think a few things that I thought were really important when I pitched here was to try to maintain fastball command the best you can. Understand that you're probably not going to throw a no-hitter. And if you can keep some guys on the ground in some situations where you have some traffic, you always have an opportunity to pick up 2 outs there, which keeps you efficient, which is important in the National League. And always 2 outs is better than 1. So.
One quick question. Who would you say the current face of baseball is?
Well, it's Aaron, right? It's got to be AJ or Shohei. It's one of those two.
Have you ever seen the amount of fanfare around one player that Ohtani is getting?
No, because I don't think we've ever seen Ohtani before. Yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nutrition in Colorado, just drinking a lot of water.
Yeah,
any other tips
for sure.
surviving Coors Field, any other tips?
Drinking a lot of water. that little oxygen tank down there is your friend, although maybe not in COVID. If we don't want to share that, we don't want to share that thing. But yeah, I mean, look, like, be efficient. Like, you gotta, like, it's either gonna not throw strikes and it's gonna be a slow death. The ball's gonna leave the park, or you're gonna throw strikes and they're gonna hit at some guys and a few of them are gonna leave the park. But you got a much better chance if you're attacking rather than being passive. So.
Jared, along those lines, is there a certain art or skill to being able to fill the zone, trust your stuff, throw strikes? Is that something that has to be a mentality perspective, or is it just a certain a skill?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, there's a skill element to it. You have to be able to command the zone to a certain extent to be up here at one, and our most successful games are often based on great pitch selection and great pitch execution. So that coincides with attacking the strike zone. I think first and foremost, before you even walk out on the field and kind of get a gauge of where your stuff is and how well you're executing, the mentality has to be to attack the zone. The mentality has to be to try to keep the hitters on their heels and not give them an opportunity to dictate the at bat. So.
And lastly, I cover the Red Sox. Obviously, you have the Red Sox Yankee route. What's just sort of been you guys play them outside the break coming out? What's been your impressions of them so far?
I mean, the Red Sox are savvy. Alex is a tremendous manager. They have tremendous players that have obviously championship pedigree. Whether they're firing on all cylinders or not, I think they have the nuance and the creativity to try to make some things happen in their favor, tip the scales of the game, tip the momentum of the game kind of to their side, even if they're not playing 100% or hitting 100% the way they want to, or even pitching to 100% the way they want to. To a certain extent, there's a lot of games in the middle where you're not really quite executing, but a few smart decisions can ultimately get the outcome that you want. And I mean, they have a lot of really good players. I mean, really smart players that know the game, and so I think that's on full display here with their record and with how well they've been playing.
There are millions of kids around the world going to be watching this game. What is the message that you want to send to the kids around the world that want to be like you in their futures?
I would just say, keep up with your schoolwork, work hard, and just chase your dreams. I did it since I was a kid. I've been obviously super blessed and super fortunate to be able to fulfill that dream. So I can tell you that you do have a shot at it, and if you go for it and you come up short, you'll learn a lot from the experiences they have and learn a lot about yourself, which will benefit you in a lot of the other areas of life. Whether you get to be in the seat or not. So
if you'll be able to jump into a time traveling machine and you go back in time, what would you say to Gary Cole when he was a kid? What advice?
I would say that you need to listen a little more than you talk sometimes.
That's good advice. Thank you, Gary.
All right, Garrett. I have a fun question like that.
Okay.
Everybody knows obviously the CBA expires after the year.
Right.
In your position on the board, are players asking you kind of what's going to happen, or how do you look at that at this point in the season?
I haven't got a lot of questions. I mean, one thing that's been fortunate for us is that we've had a lot of player involvement, and to a certain extent, some of the tribulations that we went through with the commissioner's office last year, gave us a little bit of experience as a group. And so right now, I think the information's getting passed along accordingly. Players are as educated as I think that they can be, and certainly have access to whatever information that they want. But right now, it hasn't necessarily come up, in terms of what we've been talking about from team to team or whatnot. But I've only been in the clubhouse for like 15 minutes, so it may come up later.
I've talked to a couple guys about this who are in your position, and they said they try not to think about it because it's in the off season, but it's in the regular season. It's later. I mean, do you think about it?
I trust Bruce, trust Tony. I trust our experience that we've had last year and a lot of the conversations that we had, and so first and foremost, I got to do my job for the organization. But again, that's why we try to employ smart people to lead us and give us the best information that we can. So right now we're letting them do our job, and when we're done doing our job, we'll jump in and get this thing sorted out. So yeah, thank you, Rob.
What is happening?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
How did you? Your last outing was maybe the most fun outing that I have seen. Like as far as getting fired up, do you feel like that maybe sets the tone for the Yankees for the rest of the season?
I don't know. I mean, it was just a big game, and we needed to make some big pitches. I think that certainly the way we've played this road trip has been more championship-style baseball than not, and so I don't know if per se I inspired it, but I hope that we can continue, some of the focus that we've displayed of late into the second half, because things are going to go our way if we keep playing like that.
Yeah, I mean, just as somebody watching it, I thought it was very old school, and I know that you're a historian, like you love the history of baseball. Is that what you felt like in that moment? Like, did you feel like channeling the Nolan Ryans of the world?
I just felt like I had the best feel for the situation, and so I believed in myself that I could get the job done. I appreciate the old school compliment, though.
Who has a better arm than you in your life? Tara Henry sent me the clip back in.
Come on, I got a better arm than my wife, but she's close. Okay. She's close. We had fun during quarantine. That was quite a bit of fun. But I mean, honestly, we used to play catch in college too together a lot. So it's nothing new for us.
Awesome.
Yep. Thanks for stopping by. Yep. You good, Dennis? You got anything? You've been waiting patiently.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask.
Sure.
Baseball's with like Fernando Tatis, like the young rising stars, kind of at the front and center. How do you? I mean, like from your perspective, how good is this for the game? How can they carry the game forward?
Yeah, I think it's great for the game. I mean, they got a lot of time left on their clock, But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the old guys too. I think Brandon wore a shirt the other day at the field that said "Let the old guys play" or something like that. Him and Longo made in San Francisco. So I love the blend that we have now. I think we have a lot of good veterans that have set a good example just from the industry perspective in general. And we have a lot of young guys with super high aptitude and super high talent and a lot left in their legs. So hopefully the blend of those two characteristics really kind of push the game forward, and ultimately will be on those younger guys that carry it into the next generation. And I mean, couldn't be more thrilled to have the talent that we have up here right now on display.
Did Brandon give you one of those shirts?
No, I don't think I qualify quite as old yet, but I'll definitely see if I can swing one of those maybe in a Christmas present or something. Yeah.
Gary, I'm Danielle Lerner. I just joined the Chronicle a couple months ago. I helped Chandler out.
Awesome.
So I saw you in Houston the other day, but I'm kind of wondering, like, obviously a lot of guys, not just the Astros guys, have opted out of coming here, but there's always going to be the speculation that it was because of the sign stealing stuff, and you're kind of in the middle of that situation. Like, what do you think about people suggesting that, Carlos and Jose and those guys didn't want to come because of that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't enjoy being in the middle of that, and I have really no opinion on that, to be honest. Yep. Thank you.
No se muevan, que continuamos con la máquina deportiva.